Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores. Will the Washington football team offense be the most unblitzable offense in the NFL this upcoming season? I'm gonna use advanced our quarterback and wide receiver combinations the best against pressure. I'm gonna give y'all advanced stats. Y'all are gonna be looking at some RYan Fitzpatrick plays as I'm talking. But before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative, interesting, and opinionated video just like this one. Also, be on the lookout for these rookie film sessions I'm finally getting to work on. That's why I've been so busy watching film and things like that. And of course, check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. And without further ado, man, let's get it. Alright, so everything starts with the quarterback as far as offense goes. So of course this video starts with the quarterback. RYan Fitzpatrick, the soon starting quarterback for the Washington football team, is who we're gonna break down. And I've already broken down the offense on how it's gonna be the most explosive offense in the NFL. And you can go check that video out to look at all of the advanced stats that RYan Fitzpatrick is particularly elite at. A lot of them will surprise you. But most notably, I want to bring back a stat from that video that I talked about. And then I also have a new one that I just learned about that was actually the catalyst for this video. The first stat that I've already talked to y'all about several times in videos and live streams is that RYan Fitzpatrick average time to throw last season was 2.37 seconds with the Dolphins in 2020, which was the second fastest in the NFL, only behind Ben Roethlisberger. So I mean, there's a lot of things you can take from that. Does that mean he's the second quickest decision maker? Does that mean that his offensive line was bad so he had to throw it that soon every play? This stat doesn't exactly portray whether or not he's efficient with the football and throwing it early and things like that. It just lets you know that he throws it very fast. From snap to throwing the ball, he was the second fastest in the NFL last year. And again, this doesn't necessarily say that he's the most efficient, that he's the most effective, that he's the smartest quarterback in the NFL, that he's the second quickest thinking and has the second fastest reaction time in the NFL, because this is kind of a surface stat. But then here's this new stat that came out recently. RYan Fitzpatrick is apparently the best quarterback in the NFL, at least last year he was, against pressure. Next Gen Stats broke down the top 10 quarterbacks against pressure last year. RYan Fitzpatrick was literally #1 in two great metrics. First of all, he had the highest completion percentage against pressure with a 62.1%. Again, highest in the NFL. But most importantly, he also had a 98.6 passer rating against pressure last year. That was also the highest in the NFL. Second, you had Russell Wilson with the 94.7. That's 3.9 points less in passer rating. Third, you had Lamar Jackson with a 91.6. Aaron Rodgers had a 92.6, Ben Roethlisberger had an 88.8, and that fills out the top 5. And again, RYan Fitzpatrick had the highest completion percentage against pressure as well, with pressure on his face, QB pressures, hits, all of that. He had a 62.1%, like I just said. Russell Wilson had a 47.5%. Lamar Jackson had a 55.6. Aaron Rodgers had a 47.2, and he had an MVP level season. And Ben Roethlisberger had a 57.7. So not only did RYan Fitzpatrick have the highest completion percentage against pressure, he's also the only one in the 60%. And it's crazy too, because in 2019, he had a 49 passer rating with a 2 touchdown to 8 interception ratio under pressure in 2019. And somehow he went all the way up to a 98.6 passer rating last year with a 4-2 touchdown to interception ratio. And it's not even like when pressure was on him, he was out here dinking and dunking, throwing at the screens all day. You can tell because he averaged 1.7 more air yards per attempt when under pressure than not under pressure. It just seemed like for some reason, it may not look like it on film, but at least advanced statistics wise, he would literally throw passes further when under pressure than not under pressure. And again, with him having the second fastest snap to throw time in the NFL last year, it's not like we're counting pressure as he's holding the ball for forever and then a guy finally gets to him and then he throws a deep pass. Snap to throw rate, and at the same time averaged more yards per attempt on pressure throws, then I really don't even know what to do with that. Because when you hear the fact that he averaged more yards per throw per attempt while under pressure than not under pressure, you think, again, like I just said, that means he's probably just holding the ball for very long, and then he's attempting deep throws because routes have had more time to develop, and then the pressure only counts because he's held the ball for 5 or more seconds, and now of course there's a guy's in his face because no offensive line can block a defensive line for 10 seconds. But no, again, he had the second snap to throw time in the NFL last year out of all quarterbacks. So he's just a weird anomaly, man, to be honest. And also, he finished last year with the league's best 112.9 passer rating when under pressure in second half or overtime of games. So he was also very clutch last year. Under pressure, second half, and overtime was literally when he played his best football by far last year. That's usually when quarterbacks get worse. Like when under pressure, that's already like, oh man, this quarterback's not gonna do too well. And then in second halves and clutch moments and overtimes, that's usually when guys fold. But again, this is literally when RYan Fitzpatrick is at his very best. It's so weird. He's such a weird quarterback, but I'm glad to have him on our team, for real. Because if you can depend on anybody to get the job done at the end of a game, it is him. Because again, under two factors that most quarterbacks fold under pressure and clutch moments in games, RYan Fitzpatrick actually plays his best at those moments. And not even separately, like under pressure in clutch moments at the same time in the same play. That's when RYan Fitzpatrick is out here balling. It's so weird, but I know the receivers on this team are very happy to have him. And then also, just on top of that, not necessarily relating to the fact that we're gonna have the most unblitzable offense, but there were also some other stats that came out, and somebody charted every starting quarterback that wasn't a rookie last year, and RYan Fitzpatrick was the best against pressure, of course. He had the second highest percentage of on-target throws deep down the field. He was top 5 in on-target percentage for short throws as well, and he was also top 5 in accuracy in on-target percentage versus zone coverage. He was a little bit worse versus man coverage, but he was still top 10 in that as well. So this team not only added talent in the receiving room, running back room, offensive line, everywhere, but then the quarterback that you're gaining is the best against the pressure in the NFL statistically. At least he was last year. He's top 5 in throwing against zone coverage. He's top 10 in throwing against man coverage. And then he's top 5 in short accuracy and deep accuracy as well, which these receivers are gonna love. The deep ball accuracy, I mean, that's going to open things up. That's one factor as to why we will be one of the most unblitzable offenses in the NFL. Which one helps the other one the most? And I do feel like being so efficient and so much of a threat at throwing the deep ball with Curtis Samuel, Terry Mclaurin, and Dyami Brown being some of the best at being deep threats in the NFL potentially. I mean, Curtis Samuel was already literally #1 last year according to advanced statistics, and Dyami Brown was #1 in college the past 2 years. And then you add RYan Fitzpatrick, who was the second most accurate as far as on target throws on deep balls last year. That's going to open things up underneath, not only just for the run game, but also for the short passing game. When teams have to respect you going deep every play, they're going to have to play balanced. They can't commit to stopping one single thing, and that's going to allow everything underneath to be wide open. But then also on top of that, like I said, he was top 5 in short throw accuracy as well. And then that's what we're gonna eat, because Terry McLaurin is a monster. I mean, look at his success rate throughout his route tree. First of all, he has a 90% success rate on post routes. That's crazy. I mean, that's that deep threat we're talking about. But as far as the short game goes, comeback routes 82.4%, flat routes 100%, curl routes 85%, slants 84.4%, screens of course 100%, just never drops a screen. I mean, that's not necessarily very impressive, but that's important because people do drop screens. And even if you want to go a little intermediate, dig routes 73.9%. Anything to the inside or to the outside in the short to intermediate range is money for Terry McLaurin, straight money. And on top of that, he had a 78.6% success rate versus man coverage last year, which is in the 97th percentile. He had a 78.9% success rate versus press coverage, which was in the 90th percentile. And he was also double covered at a rate similar to all of the elite top 5 receivers in the NFL. So we have the perfect quarterback against pressure, against blitzes that potential defensive opponents may draw up. And then we also have the receivers that are ready, most notably Terry McLaurin. And it's crazy too, because even though advanced statistics say that Curtis Samuel was the best deep threat in football last year was also when he played in the slot the most he's ever done in his career, and it's also when he had his best season in his career. So he's gonna eat up in the short range for RYan Fitzpatrick as well, and they're only gonna help each other because of Curtis Samuel and Dyami Brown and potentially some of these other receivers on the roster. You can't double team Terry McLaurin like you used to these past 2 years. You just can't. And then at the same time, you can't allocate too many resources to stopping Dyami Brown, Curtis Samuel, and these other guys, because you have to worry about Terry McLaurin, who demands double teams. You have to worry about us hitting you on deep balls, getting chunk plays every play, as well as a death by 1,000 cuts with a whole bunch of short yardage game. Because on top of all of that, our running backs are great passing threats. Antonio Gibson has the potential to be the next Christian McCaffrey. J.D. McKissick was only behind Alvin Kamara in several receiving statistics amongst running backs in the NFL last year. And then Jared Patterson is already looking better in off-season workouts than he even did on film last year, as far as his ability to be a natural pass catcher out of the backfield. Randy Jordan, our running backs coach, it literally said that he was surprised that Jared Patterson looks as natural as he does as a receiver, because on film he didn't really show that in college. So on top of all of these receivers, on top of the quarterback situation, all of these advanced statistics that I've already given you, one way to neutralize a team being very aggressive on defense and blitzing is to screen them up. That screen game has to go crazy, and we have potentially 3 running backs who can be deadly in the screen game for us. And even Curtis Samuel can double up as a running back occasionally. And like I showed y'all earlier, Terry McLaurin has a 100% success rate on the routes in the screen game. This offense is too versatile, it's too potentially explosive, it's too fast, it's too quick, and not even just speed as far as your feet, but again, with RYan Fitzpatrick having the second fastest snap to throw time last year out of the entire NFL, it's just, what can a defense do? They're gonna have to play as balanced, because if you focus on stopping the run, you have all of these other options: screens, deep ball, intermediate throws, short throws. If you focus on stopping the short throws, you have the run game, deep throws, intermediate throws. If you focus on stopping the deep throws and run nickel and dime, this run game is going to eat you up. This short passing game is going to eat you up. The screen game is going to eat you up. So I think in conclusion, we will not face a lot of blitzes this year, this upcoming season, because it's just not smart for a team to do that. For all of the reasons I've already laid out in this video, why would a team do their homework, watch film, look at who we have, and then watch as the season goes on? Our resume will build and teams will truly realize that they can't blitz us by the time we reach the second half of the season. But why would you blitz a team that's this equipped to counter any blitz you throw at us? Why even risk it? Why would you blitz players, but you need all of the resources you can have to stop Terry McLaurin, Dyami Brown, and Curtis Samuel down the field? Because all of these running backs we have out of the backfield running wheel routes, screens, everything. Don't even get me started on a healthy Adam Humphries, on a Dax Milne, that when you look at Zach Wilson's highlights, who's the one out there laying it all on the line, making diving catches to complete some of those crazy throws that Zach Wilson was throwing? Don't forget, Kelvin Harmon had the best hands on this team his rookie season. That's including Terry McLaurin being on the team. Don't forget that Cam Sims has his moments, and now that we finally have stable QB play, at the very worst is going to probably be 2 of them out there between RYan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke. I'm expecting him to finally be consistent and stable as a wide receiver option. I just don't see how defensive coordinators can see it as a smart idea to blitz us. We're going to have potentially one of the most unblitzable teams in the NFL. Of course, there's the Chiefs, where like if you blitz Pat Mahomes, that's less guys covering Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But again, with the advanced statistics that I gave you, we're even more dangerous to blitz against. I think defensive coordinators are definitely going to think twice about blitzing us this year. We'll see. Can't wait to see how this season unfolds. We'll take a look back and review after this 2021 NFL season is over, and we'll look at how many times we got blitzed, and we'll also look at how it changed over the course of the season. Did week 1 we get blitzed like a lot, but then towards the end of the season we barely got blitzed? And you kind of have to blitz with as good as I think this offensive line will be. And I really do feel like just how like this NBA playoffs is now a battle of who's the healthiest, not necessarily who's the most talented, who has the bodies to even put on the floor. I feel like with this extra game, this 17th game, and then this is our first full off season, you already see guys tearing ACLs and practices amongst teams around the NFL. I think just like the NBA playoffs right now, this NFL season is only going to matter at the end who's the healthiest, not necessarily who's the best on paper. And I think this offensive line is going to be one of the deepest in the NFL. We may not have the best starting lineup, but I do think we have some of the best depth in the NFL. So I think this offensive line is going to hold up very well towards the end of the season. So you're going to have to blitz to get at least some pressure. But again, for all of the reasons I've given you throughout this video, don't even try it. It's really pick your poison. I can't wait. And then for the very rare times that a defense successfully stops us on offense, you can depend on our defense to get it right back. And then our offense with all of this speed and everything is going to tire out defenses. And by the time we reach the fourth quarter in most, if not every game, we're going to start to see some chinks in the armor in opposing defenses, which may encourage them to blitz more. But again, wouldn't do that if I were you. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Are you as confident in this offense as I am? Please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get more interesting and crazy topics like this one. Like I said, I'm trying to do daily uploads. I'm trying to be consistent with the live streams, and I'm working on this rookie class film session, so stay tuned for all of the content. I'm always thinking outside of the box for more video ideas just like this one, so stay tuned for all of that. And as always, man, I really appreciate all of the support, man. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now. Man, I really appreciate all of y'all. A special shouts out to my one All-Pro sponsor, Jaden. It's 8:23 p.m. right now, Eastern time zone, so I'm about to go ahead and get ready to watch this Nets-Bucks game while I'm editing this video. When y'all get this video, the game will probably be over, but you know, I'm excited to watch some basketball, some type of sports while I'm editing this video real quick. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.